Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, and I'm back to bring you another episode review from Season 7 of The Loud House. So let's get right into it. Today's episode is Too Cool for School. In this episode, Principal Ramirez changes the way the middle school is run after taking advice from a famous education specialist from Sweden, and Lincoln and pals try to get things back to normal with a plan that involves Stella impersonating their principal's new influence. Usually, Principal Ramirez's character can go in either a good or bad direction depending on the story, but this time she's depicted as going in both, if that makes any sense. On the one hand, she sort of comes off as an antagonist to the entire middle school by completely transforming the way they go about conducting business. From lowering the thermostat to icy temperatures, to only eating fish for lunch while running laps in gym at the same time, not to mention some other questionable things. It was clear no one liked these changes and thought the principal was out of her mind. However, on the other hand, when exploring these new methods on the surface, Ramirez explains how this new system would help boost academic performance in the future. In good faith, I can't really condemn her for wanting her students to be the best they can be and reach their full potential. A good educator wants to see their students succeed, and Ramirez definitely had good intentions with these newly discovered surface-level methods. Still, Lincoln and pals were not happy with these extreme changes, and I don't blame them for trying to trick their principal into getting their school back to normal. Their plan involved hijacking a live stream with Stella dressing up as their principal's new educational influencer, Astrid Bjorklinson. Stella explains how the Astrid method doesn't really work, but then it turns out the real Astrid is in Michigan for a book signing, and Ramirez was going to find out why she would write a book if she claimed her methods were useless. So Lincoln and pals had to keep the real Astrid distracted while Stella acted as the imposter to fool their principal. This eventually led to Ramirez encountering two Astrids, ending with both Stella being exposed as a fraud and her friends being exposed as the ones who deceived their principal. Now, speaking of the ending, I can't be the only one who thought how incredibly rushed, forced, and rather confusing it was. Apparently, Astrid had to rethink her own methods when she pointed out how student happiness was crucial to their success, Lincoln and pals being unhappy and not benefiting as an example. So if I'm interpreting this right, this so-called leading education specialist was openly admitting she wasn't as good as she claimed to be despite having a book deal, all because one group of kids weren't benefiting from her system. However, she said in the beginning her methods improved student performance in over 50 countries, so which is it? Do these methods really work, or do they only work in certain countries outside the United States? Is it possible she was simply lying about the success rate in those 50 countries? Do the results of her methods vary from student to student, from school to school, and from country to country? Did she ever get any honest feedback from anyone in those 50 countries that took up those very same methods? You're left with so many questions, and it makes my appreciation for Astrid's character more conflicting than it has to be. I mean, I'll give her props for being very positive and highly flexible and athletic. She does come off as a genuinely nice and motivating character, don't get me wrong. Still, the fact she started doubting her own methods upon seeing the reactions of just one group of American middle schoolers, even though her system was said to be a proven success in other countries, makes you question who this woman really is. It probably would have been easier to write an ending where Astrid was exposed as a fake and how her methods were just a scam. A very overdone and simple, yet more effective ending as far as I'm concerned. Either way, Royal Woods Middle School goes back to the way it was before, so at least Lincoln and pals got their big victory in the end. Overall, this episode had the right idea, and I'm not going to shame Principal Ramirez for having good intentions for her students. That being said, the final product just comes off as a little stupid, with a very big head scratcher as the story was wrapping up. Nonetheless, I do appreciate the lesson the story was going for. Just because certain methods for success can be beneficial to some people, it doesn't mean it's going to be beneficial to others. Lincoln and pals were not benefiting from Astrid's methods for academic excellence, so maybe I can understand why this Swedish education specialist wanted to rethink her system. However, I still thought it was quite ridiculous how Astrid was willing to throw away her entire system even though she said it had proven success in other countries. Perhaps it could have been better if she said she would keep her original system and then create a separate one so Lincoln and pals can achieve academic excellence while also maintaining their happiness in American schools. Aside from that, I enjoyed Stella's impersonation of Astrid and a few Swedish stereotypes like eating a lot of fish and living in very cold conditions. And no, much like the Canadian stereotypes from Schooled, I don't think these things are as offensive as some try to make them out to be. If South Park can have a little harmless fun with their own international stereotypes, The Loud House should be no exception. In short, this episode had its humorous moments, a quick reference to the book Are You There, God?, with the last word being changed to COD, and a good life lesson worth remembering. But as I mentioned earlier, you're left with more questions than answers. You start to wonder if Principal Ramirez is really any good at helping her students become successful, and if Astrid is more qualified for ice skating and yoga training entertaining than she is for school education. I guess that's up to the audience to decide. With that said, I give Too Cool for School a 6 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of Too Cool for School. So I gotta ask, what did you guys think of this episode? Sound off in the comments below, and be sure to click that subscribe button for more Loud House related content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.